Hey, how's it going? I'm Ben from Universal Audio, and today I'm joined by Dave Lebolt, the General Manager for Instruments. We're going to talk about some of the instruments that are shipping alongside Luna. So, how's it going, Dave?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great, man. So, what are some of the instruments that are shipping alongside Luna?
First and foremost is Moog's Minimoog, fantastic Minimoog. And then Ravel, the grand piano, which we'll be talking about, and Shape, which is a creative toolkit instrument.
Cool. So with the Moog, I know there's multiple Moog emulations out there. What did UA do differently with ours?
I think it's the overall message of craftsmanship. When we go in and do this type of work, we spend the same tremendous attention to detail, circuit modeling, looking at all the aspects of the sonics that we put into the UAD signal processing plugins. And the same thing happened here with several different source instruments being used to make sure that we got exactly the character of the instrument. And that sort of brings me back to something else. Back in the day, I came up with analog synths, including modular, and those instruments just jump out of the speakers. They have an absolute fidelity where you don't need any EQ or compression to have them coexist with one another or with a track.
Yeah.
And you find that with this synthesizer.
I kind of came up the opposite way of using soft synths first, and then, I remember going to a friend's studio and getting hands-on with a real Moog for the first time, and that the difference in tone and that depth and dimension that you get immediately from it, that it changed my whole concept of what synths can sound like. And having played around with our Minimoog now, I can definitely confirm it has that same sort of feeling when you open it up. And it's not just a sonic thing; it's also, to me, it's an inspiration thing where it kind of begs you to, tweak the sounds and play it more.
Yeah, it's not an accident that this is pretty much the most successful synthesizer that was ever developed. And while by today's standards it's a simpler voice structure, it still has an incredibly powerful punch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and creatively is a great go-to thing for anything from obviously big pounding basses to lead sounds to special effects and FM-like sounds that you might not expect to get out of this instrument, including feeding things back into its filter. And we've done that in a pretty faithful way as well.
What's really cool too is that we apply the same UAD thought process of it's warts and all. It's exactly how the physical one works is how the modeled Luna instrument will work as well.
Absolutely, and the advantage is, of course, you can now run multiple instances of them, right? That's a little costly in the real world.
Exactly.
Its analog counterpart.
So now with Ravel, the grand piano, what was kind of the inspiration or the thought process behind the creation of that?
Our customers have been asking us for a while to make virtual instruments. That's one of the #1 requests that we had. I think an iconic grand piano could be a good choice, right? That's a lot of people need to be able to go to that. And then we had to choose what instrument it would be, and we chose the Steinway B because throughout the history of pop recordings, that instrument is one of the most commonly used instruments for good reason, because it has a lot of body and it can have the high end. And then after we found the right instrument, we had to choose where to record it. So what better place to record it than the former Ocean Way United, which is where Bill Sr. Built his studio, and then Alan Sides was the recording engineer.
Yeah.
And with his treasured mics, like the C12s and the 251s and M50s and stuff, we just captured that room and captured a great close piano sound that is more of a record sound, through API, Neve preamps and stuff. We got something it just sits in the mix the right way.
Having a piano that's not, trying to be a big concert hall style piano, having that studio focused sound to it is great. But I also love the controls that we've given users to be able to kind of tailor that sound to really fit inside of a record exactly how it needs to be.
Yeah, that's right. But while we did that, went way further on something, and that's what we're calling ultra resonance. And that's basically describing our entire sort of craftsmanship story, the attention to detail we have around stuff, but it's specific to what happens when you press the sustain or damper pedal down. That sound is just never done right. I gotta say, as a pianist, it's hilariously not right.
Yeah.
And this is like a game changer. Like when you play a good piano, acoustically, and you just press down a couple of notes. You don't have to be a piano player. You can just press those notes and just let them hang out, and you go, wow, that just sounds so beautiful.
Yeah.
So it becomes an inspirational thing. It's more of a creative thing where you can just play a few notes and build a track right out of that. And that's in this instrument. I mean, it's sort of bottled in there.
It's, again, just like the Minimoog, it's inspiring, it's inviting, and it kind of draws the music and ideas out of you so quickly.
That's right. What you want is you want to stop thinking about where the sound is coming from and just be emotionally responding to it.
Absolutely. So the other instrument that you mentioned, Shape, what's the story behind that?
Well, it's what we're calling a creative toolkit. It's a source of inspiration. You bring up Luna and you want to be able to work with something, say, where do I get my drums, percussion, basses, guitars, synths? It's got a real-time synthesis engine. You want to be able to work with sort of lighter versions of some of the key Luna instruments that we're putting out, including Ravel. They're sitting in there ready for you to use. And it's really easy to just pick up the sound you want and start making a track. This stuff's for free, but it's serious tool stuff. In addition to that, it also makes use of the UA effects that we can put into it. So you can get things like an 1176 or an LA2A within that world, and some good EQ and delays and reverb. And all these effects can be used on a part basis or on a global basis, and you have custom controls in each part. So if you don't want to edit anything, you just bring up the sounds, you step through stuff that you want, you combine them the way you want. Or if you do want to edit it, it gives you some real depth to be able to get into, a moderate amount, but not enough to get into the weeds. So you don't have to be so focused around tweaking sound, just bring up the sounds you like. And the other part of this is, it's a tool to show people about the third-party partners that we've got making Luna instruments. Companies like Spitfire, the world's leader in orchestral content, Orange Tree samples with guitars and basses, they do a lot of stuff. Waves Factory, G-Force with Mellotron stuff, Sonic Couture, Loops de la Creme. We've got some great partners that are making instruments for us. And this gives you a chance to sort of check out the beginnings of what you could do with those types of instruments and learn more about them. And then if you want to, you can download a demo, just like what you can do with signal processing plugins, and work with the full version of the instrument and choose whether you want to buy that.
That's really cool. Well, Dave, we could sit over here and talk all day about these instruments, but no, let's go play with them. Let's show the people what these sound like.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. All right, Dave, so I've got you all set up here with a keyboard. I've got Luna pulled up, and I thought a good place to start would be with Shape. So I'm going to pull up random parts and random sounds. You're going to play some random parts to those random sounds, and let's show people what this curated library of sounds really sounds like.
All right. Well, there's a bunch of machine drum sounds in here from a lot of different classic kits.
So that's a bunch of the kind of drum machines and some of the sampled sounds, but we've also got some more true-to-life drums in here too. So it's not just, regular drums, but there's also a huge selection of percussion in here. But also love, stuff like the vibraphone. Nice. Marimba. Nice. So let's look at some of these basses. I know you've got like the standard electric bass, kind of a flat wound sound. Oh man, this acoustic bass sounds incredible. So what's great is it's not just sampled instruments in here. There's also a synthesis engine happening, right?
Yeah, there's a real-time synthesis engine in the instrument. It's not samples, it's running in real time. So you can get a lot of really cool effects. It's got subtractive FM and wavetable. So.
And then speaking of synths, you've got some polysynths in here as well.
Yep. Standard kind of saw sweeper.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a cool one here. It's Kyoto banjo. Hell yeah. I'm a huge Mellotron fan, so I'm so excited to see that we have Mellotron sounds included.
Yeah.
Like this is the choir.
That's fun.
Such a classic sound.
Yeah.
But what's great about it, especially in the strings and woodwinds and horns, is this also contains sounds from Spitfire, which again are kind of the light versions of the premium Luna instruments that they're going to have on offer as well.
Yeah.
Let's go up to the strings. I want to show people what the those long chamber string ensembles sound like. Those sound so good. You can really hear the air.
Yeah. Well, the really cool thing is try the short stuff. The shorts, where you could go.
But I love how you get the different variety of string sounds here. You're not just limited to a big orchestra. You've got a smaller chamber ensemble. You've got some quartet instruments. You can kind of pick and choose exactly the size and width you're looking for.
Spitfire's just got the most incredible sounds, and we've got a nice selection of them in here.
And it's not just strings. There's also some incredible brass. And even like the trumpet. And then, of course, there's other woodwinds. Let's hear that clarinet. You hear all the air and all the woodiness of that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So that's some incredible orchestral style content, but then there's also stuff like electric guitars in here. Let's hear what some of those sound like. Oh man, it's so good. But of course, you can't have a keyboard instrument without having some incredible pianos and organs, right? course, there's a light version of Ravel included inside Shape.
So that's a pretty nice piano to just be able to just start to use as a writing tool. And it's just included right in this instrument.
That's so cool. Man, that was a fun, fast tour of some of the sounds that are inside of Shape. But I love that we ended up here, because Ravel Lite, this is actually the default sound that Shape pulls up automatically.
Yeah.
So the minute you put this instrument on, you've got a writing tool at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But of course, a big question a lot of people have is, how does this one compare to the full Luna instrument version? So this feels like the perfect time to switch over, come out of Shape and go into Ravel. So let's just pull up the default sound here and show people what it really sounds like.
So the thing we were talking about dynamic range in an instrument, what we've got going on over here is if I play this super soft, and the thing we were talking about the ultra resonant stuff, just to be able to play, this is piano without any sustain pedal down, right? And if I just play. That swirly sound.
Yeah.
It's like, is what happens in a piano.
That's just the strings and the soundboard kind of all interacting
All
together.
interacting. And the combination of all these pedaled activities.
Man, that is such a beautiful sounding piano. So I love how Ravel opens up with like a minimalist interface. But of course, you can just click here and open up the menu and personalize the sound to fit the track perfectly.
So why don't we check out the reverse sound stuff a little bit?
Well, I've never seen this on a piano before. So this is reverse samples that you can blend into the regular piano sound,
That's
right?
right, yeah. Yeah.
Such a cool sound. The other thing I love though too is that you have control over the microphones, and when you click on this control, you can actually see the piano in the room with the different sets of microphones, and then you have control over how much of that room tone you're adding to the sound.
That's right.
You want to play a little bit for me? As a producer, to be able to have that sort of control and really kind of get the perfect blend of close piano versus the piano in the room, that's kind of what you're always looking to balance.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, man, Ravel, this thing sounds just beautiful. But of course, the one I'm arguably the most excited for is this Minimoog. But something else that's really cool that we haven't really talked a lot about yet is the ARP. Which is a MIDI effect that you can add to any MIDI track and just is one of the most fun and easy to use arpeggiators I've seen. So let's pull up ARP, pull up our Minimoog, let's hit the preset browser, and let's hear what you got, Dave. That really shows off how great this filter sound is. And of course, if people are familiar with UAD plugins, they know that we've modeled Moog filters in the past. Yeah. So we've kind of built on that knowledge and experience and even that algorithm to develop it into this mini Moog filter.
Yeah, it's a lot more than the filter modeling that's made this sound the way it does. It's oscillator and mix, and there's all these little anomalies that are in this instrument that were captured. Let's try some other sounds.
Yeah. So as you were playing that one back, I switched the external input to feedback and started cranking that up because like just a little touch of that on basses.
Totally different flavor.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for giving us all these insights into not only what went into making these Luna instruments, but also some of the sonic possibilities that they present.
Glad to do it.
Awesome. Well, and if you guys want to learn more about the Luna instruments or just Luna in general, head to uaudio.com/Luna, and I'll see you guys next time.